All right, daily stand-ups. How is your daily stand-up going? Is it going great, or is it a little bit of Shaun of the Dead? Is it a bit, everyone's not really engaged and it's a bit cumbersome, it's a little bit sort of monotonous and everyone's kind of asleep? That's okay, I got a couple of tips that can help you revitalize those dead daily scrums. First one, sprint goal front and center. You got to make sure your sprint goal is visible where everyone can see it and everyone knows what it is. What's that? You don't have a sprint goal? Well, that's another problem, and that's probably the main reason why everyone's standing around talking as individuals and not as a team. You need to make sure that you not only have a sprint goal, but it is something that is front and center and reminded every time you do your daily scrum. You know, what is our sprint goal? How are we looking to achieve it? If you're the Scrum Master, then you can kick off the meeting by saying, our sprint goal is X, Y, Z, how are we going? And then that's how you start the conversation and get everyone talking. The main thing to remember about the daily scrum is, what are we doing to achieve our sprint goal? What did we do yesterday that it went towards our sprint goal? And is there anything stopping us from meeting our sprint goal? That's probably the most important part. Yeah, a lot of daily scrums, you see people leave blockers to the very end. Oh, anyone got any blockers, by the way? That's the most important thing. Like, there's the things that are stopping you from getting your sprint goal. What are they? You know, what's going to stop us from getting there? If blockers is the last thing you're thinking about, then great, you must be achieving every sprint goal every time. All right, number 2 is don't go around in a circle. I see this happen all the time, and it's the most boring way to do a daily scrum. What you should do instead, if you're the Scrum Master, is say, who wants to go first? And then wait for whoever's going to go next. What always happens is when it just goes around in a circle is first person will say, oh, I did this yesterday and I'm planning to do this today. Oh yeah, I did this yesterday and I'm planning to do this today. It's like, that's boring, right? No one's interested and no one's listening, and that's the biggest problem, is no one's listening. What you want to do instead is have whoever has got the most important thing to say it first, right? If you then allow it to happen organically rather than going around in a circle, then the most important part of the conversation will come to the surface first, because hopefully the most important thing that needs to be said gets said first. But the most important part of that is to remember that it is a planning session, not a status meeting. It's not one of these things where you just kind of going, oh, this is where we're up to, this is what I'm doing. This is a planning session. All right, our sprint goal is X. How are we going? You know, what's the plan? Oh, we've got this problem over here. All right, how do we fix that? Or we're going to do this. I can help with that. Fantastic. That's what should happen in a daily stand-up. All right, the next one is to have a visual management board. Now, this is one thing I get the most skepticism about. It's usually people saying, oh, we have Jira. Why do we need to have a physical board there as well? This makes the biggest impact I've ever seen in any Scrum team, is by having your work up on the wall where it's visible, where everyone can see it simplistically, easy, understandable. And remember, there's a whole bunch of humans all working together, right? So you want it to be as human as possible. If it's stuck in a computer screen somewhere, then no one's really connecting with it. Have it on the wall, touch it, feel it, see it, move it, adjust it, right? Everything about it is tangible. It's visible. You can touch it and feel it and move it. You have control. This is something that enables the team to feel like they're really engaged with the work rather than being disconnected and disappearing inside a computer somewhere. And the other secondary part of that, of course, that it's where you're doing your daily scrum. If the visual board is right there and you're all standing around it talking about it, it makes it much easier to talk about something you can see versus something you can't. It's really hard to talk about something you can't see. And then you can also make sure that your blockers are really visible, right? Use a big red dot or something on there that makes it really visible, the things that are currently blocked, and who's going to take the responsibility of unblocking that thing. Obviously, the Scrum Master does help with that, and that's a part of their role, but it shouldn't just be the Scrum Master. The whole team should be visible to the things that are stopping them from, as a team, getting their sprint goal. Include your retro items on the board as well that you want to have in your daily stand-up, or when you're all standing around and sort of talking about what you're doing as far as your sprint goal. Just have a little reminder there that you've also got the things that you committed to in the retro. Now, your retros ideally should only come out with, you know, a top 3 of actions to take care of, and they should go into your sprint backlog as well. But you want them visible there, otherwise they get forgotten and nothing ever happens, right? But if they're there when you're having your daily scrum, then anyone who's sort of got some downtime, which downtime's fine. I don't know why people are so afraid of downtime. Anyway, if they got downtime, they can pick that up because it's right there, and they can kind of go, okay, well, I finished what I did yesterday. I'm waiting on the next thing to get started again. Oh, I've got this retro item. I might pick this up if everyone's okay with that. Yeah, great, awesome. All right, last one is to, and I think this is the most important one, is to make sure that the daily scrum, everyone that's in it, is the conversation is towards the development team. It is towards the team, not at the Scrum Master and certainly not at the product owner. It's a daily planning session for the development team to make sure that they hit their sprint goal. And it should be all directed at them. It's not a whole bunch of people talking to one person. It's not a whole bunch of people updating the Scrum Master on, are you guys doing your job? That's not what it is. It should be a planning session. Guys, how are we going? How we're getting, we've got this blocker over here. How do we deal with that? Or maybe Fred can help and blah, blah, blah. Right? That's the conversation that should be happening. It should all be directed as a team. That's the whole point, right? This is where Scrum came from. Everyone get together. How do we resolve this problem? That's what it should be about. It should not be a status session. It should not be directed at a product owner or a Scrum Master, and certainly not a project manager. If you're the Scrum Master, make sure that the team is directing the conversation at themselves and not at you. All right, that's my tips. If you've got any tips yourself, drop them into the comments. We'd love to hear them. Otherwise, give us a like, and we'll see you in the next video.